Well, good evening. As many of my regular viewers are probably already aware of this Bush speech that he gave in the Knesset in Israel during his recent visit, he equated the negotiations with hostile parties essentially as appeasement. So Chris Floyd over at Empire Burlesque did a brilliant follow-up on this that I'd like to share with you. And I'll be reading some excerpts from his essay, and hopefully I can find the original link again. And if not, you can Google it up, I'm sure. All the credit belongs to Chris Floyd for this essay. The progressive hissy fit over Bush's speech has provided a massive distraction from the real scandal of his appearance before the Knesset and his reference to Nazi Germany. The fact that this mass-murdering wager of aggressive war would not have been standing before the Knesset at all if not for his own family's extensive and profitable role in the rise of the Nazi war machine. A role which continued not only after the Nazi tanks crossed Poland, as Bush said, where Bush's family, incidentally, had investments that helped finance the concentration camps in Auschwitz. But even after the Nazi forces were killing American troops in North Africa. As Toby Rogers noted in his landmark 2002 essay in Clamor magazine, Here to the Holocaust, which pulled together the vast amount of documentary evidence of the Bushwalker clan intimate and instrumental connection to the Nazis. According to classified documents from Dutch intelligence and U.S. government archives, President George Walker Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush, made considerable profits of Auschwitz and the slave labor going on there. In fact, President Bush himself is a heir to these profits from the Holocaust, which were placed in a blind trust in 1980 by his father, former President George Herbert Walker Bush. Throughout the Bush family's decades of public life, the American press has gone out of its way to overlook one historical fact: that through Union Banking Corporation, UBC for short, Prescott Bush and his father-in-law, George Herbert Walker, along with their business partner, German industrialist Fritz Thyssen, financed Adolf Hitler before and during World War II. You know, none of this means, as Chris Floyd points out, that Bush's grandfather was a Nazi. This is simply the way the American elite has always functioned. Ideology, morality, patriotism, principles, and law all must give way to the relentless and ruthless pursuit of wealth and the power and privilege and dominance that wealth brings. Prescott Bush traded with the Nazis even when they were killing Americans, because there was money in it. For the same reason, his son Prescott Jr. has long been a leading figure in trading with the repressive communist regime in China, as have President Bush's brother Neil, and, by the way, Donald Rumsfeld as well. For the same reason, Prescott Bush's senior's other son, George Herbert Walker Bush, and his son, George Walker Bush, have long had extensive and intimate business ties with violent religious extremists in Saudi Arabia and with a number of other tyrants throughout the Middle East and around the world. It seems astonishing that in a media culture in which the slightest youthful peccadillo and most remote family history of a presidential candidate or office holder are exhumed and examined in microscopic detail, the Bush family's documented and indisputable involvement in the rise of Hitler and his machine of aggressive war has never come to the attention of the general American public. But because such truths expose the reality of the elites who control the commanding heights of American society and give the bitter lie to bubbly effusions of American exceptionalism, to pious, comforting fantasies about unifying leaders of us all carrying out their awesome and solemn responsibilities with unshakable dignity, they remain forever outside the purview of serious discourse. Anything that genuinely challenges the prevailing pieties that mask the murderous operations of empire and oligarchy must be ignored, or mocked, scorned, or simply marginalized. Thanks, Chris, for that excellent essay. Good night.